In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the newest patch coming to SMITE, the World's Serpent, which also means the newest god is coming, Jormungandr, which I believe that's how you pronounce it. I've always had trouble saying his name, so that's probably going to be the last time I say it in this video. We'll start with him. His passive is called Immovable. This basically means that he cannot be hard CC'd. He can be slowed, but that's it. So if you hit him with a Poseidon Whirlpool, it's not going to suck him in. If you hit him with a Tremble, it's not going to tremble him. If Fenrir comes up and ults him, it's going to do the damage, but you won't pick him up. So you can't do that brother-on-brother crime. So basically, it just replaces any hard CC with a new thing called Dazed. Dazed is a debuff for him that is a fading slow and increases the damage he takes for the duration. So any attack speed past base reduces the cooldown rate of his basic attacks. So it slows for 20%, fading over 2 seconds, so the slow gets less slowy the longer you're affected by that, and then you have a 10% damage increase applied to you. So rather than being hard CC'd or anything like that, you just get slowed, but you also take 10% more damage. So that is his passive, and they said in the patch notes that they're going to pay attention to this very, very closely for his balance. So I honestly could see him getting a different passive in the future if this gets too out of hand. So Venomous Haze is his actual first ability. Resembles Noxious Fumes a little bit, so he fires a noxious spit at an area that deals damage and creates a large toxic cloud. This field damages and slows enemies inside of it every second. He can have a maximum of 9 clouds out at one time. So the initial damage is going to be 80 to 240 plus 40% of your magical power, and then it's going to tick for 5 to 45 plus 5%. It's going to last for 20 seconds, and there's a little inner circle that starts in the cloud and gradually gets bigger and bigger, and once the inner circle meets the outer circle, that's when the duration is over. So that's the 20 seconds. It's going to slow for 1 second and slow for 15%. It's going to have a 16-second cooldown and go down to 12 seconds, cost you 60 to 80 mana, has a range of 65 and a radius of 10, but the cloud radius is 15. Now, his second ability goes hand in hand with his one, and then his third ability kind of goes hand in hand with both of them, in a way. So his second ability is called Consuming Bellow. He draws power from toxic clouds nearby while channeling for 1.2 seconds. At the end of the channel, he roars, dealing damage to all enemies, trembling and slowing enemy gods for 30% for 1.5 seconds. Each cloud increases the size of Consuming Bellow and empowers him up to 3 times while also dealing extra damage to enemies hit. Extra damage after the first instance is halved. While empowered, his basic attacks fire at its fastest rate. And his basic attacks are kind of like Cerberus's spit that he does. It's similar to, not spit, his slow. So essentially how this thing works is for 1.2 seconds while you're channeling it, he's going to channel it up and he's just going to roar. If there are enemies within the radius, which it should say down here, 20, so I'm guessing 20 to 30, somewhere in between there. If you roar, it's going to deal damage to them. The damage is going to be 120 to 360 plus 50% of your magical power. However, if there's clouds nearby that you placed from Venomous Haze, it's going to deal increased damage. Now, you can have up to 9 clouds in the game, but only 3 of them are going to go towards your 2. So if you have 9 clouds near you, really it's not going to make any difference because only 3 of them can be used. So there's going to be damage mitigation while channeling it at 10%. So while your passive made it so you take 10% extra damage when you're hard CC'd, your Consuming Bellow makes it so you take 10% less damage while activating this ability. Now, your empowered basic attack buff is going to last 1 second per stack, so if you have 3 clouds near you, you're going to get 3 seconds worth of basic attack increased. And then it's going to have a max stack of 3, slow for 30%, 1.5 seconds. We went all through of this. 14-second cooldown, 70 mana. So, I'm watching a little bit of him in the patch notes. I don't know how well he's going to play. Like, he's just so different. I don't know. Like, it's really just the 1 and 2 that it seems like you can get confirmed damage. Because the 3, which we'll get into right now, it's basically a stealth, but if you take damage from gods, it breaks the stealth. Now, you still remain underground, but the enemies can just see you. So we'll go ahead and read it. He submerges into the ground, turning invisible as he searches for prey. During this time, he moves faster and gains predatory vision, so he gains 25% movement speed, and I guess predatory vision is going to be something like Predator, like infrared and stuff, sensing all enemies in a large radius. Firing this ability while invisible reveals him as he emerges out of the ground, so it's basically, you hit it to go underground, it's either going to last for 5 seconds, or you can hit it again to stop it early. Emerges at the ground, and he knocks up enemies around him, so when you come out of the ground, you knock up the enemies. Taking damage from enemy gods also breaks the stealth. Now, like I said, while it breaks the stealth, you'll still remain underground. They'll just be able to see you. So, damage is 70 to 290 plus 50% of your physical power, 25% movement speed for 5 seconds, cooldown is 18 seconds, 20 radius with a 70 to 90 mana cost. Now, his ultimate is kind of like his 3, except you can do it multiple times. It's called the World Serpent. So he prepares to enter into the world, enlarging as he prepares a devastating attack. After selecting a target area, he flies into the air, diving down and crashing into enemies as his body slams into the ground. He must travel 2 more times. When he emerges and submerges during this ability, he knocks up enemies, and with each submerge, he leaves behind a toxic pool. So this is the closest thing I could compare this to is an Ao Kuang ult without the execute. So you know how Ao Kuang goes into the air and he selects a target to go back down at. Think of it like that, but of like 20 radius. You can only go with 20 units, and you're not up in the sky. So you hit the ult, you're going to choose where to come down and go under the ground. And then once you go under the ground, you have to select another area to choose, and then you'll come up from the ground and then go back under the ground. And then you have to do that 1 more time. And every time you go into the ground, you're going to do 150 damage to 350 plus 40% of your magical power. And then every time you emerge from the ground, or no, hold on, submerge damage, and then emerge and crash damage. Crash and submerge, I feel like are the same thing. Well, it says that you also leave behind toxic pools. So, but there are the damage counts. I'm not sure which one goes to what, the submerge, crash, and emerge, but also whenever you, is it leave? Each time you submerge. So each time you go into the ground, you're going to do damage and then leave behind a toxic cloud. And of course that toxic cloud, if you hit the enemy, is going to deal damage and then slow them and do all that stuff. So I don't know if he's going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be bad. I just know that he's super unique. He's the tallest god in game too. Like, he is really tall. So trying to sneak around the jungle, good luck with that, because people are just going to see this giant serpent head peeping over the harpies. So you can't really sneak with him. I think he's a mage from what I could gather. I really don't know for sure. I can't confirm that, but to me, he looks like mage. I really don't know. He's going to be fun. Regardless if he sucks and he's the worst god, he's going to be cool and he's going to be fun. So that is a plus. We're going to go ahead and move on to the skins now. We have 6, 7, 8 new skins. Well, actually, no. 6, one of them being On Her's Masteries, and then Jormungandr? I think that's right. I know I said I wasn't going to say that again, but we did. So we got their mastery skins. The first real skin we have is Deathbringer King Arthur.
This world shall be cleansed of all life. The damned will once more rise again.
So that is going to be a limited skin for Twitch Prime only. And then we have Starforce Neith, which doesn't have anything. So I'm guessing that's just her basic voice pack. But this is an exclusive for linking your Switch account. So I'm guessing kind of like how PlayStation got the... What skin did PlayStation get? We got Odin. We got an Odin skin, and Xbox got a Zeus skin. So I guess Switch gets Neith. Dragon Prince Naja. It's been a while for a Naja skin. Voice pack's not working on that, but this is through the Legend of Camelot. Infinite Seer Apwash.
I will enlighten all those who challenge me, and those who refuse to learn will be destroyed.
That really does not look like Apwash at all, but I'm excited to see what he looks like in game. That is also through the Legend of Camelot, and then we have Wolfsbane Scotty, which is available to the Spring Holiday chest.
These outsiders think they can come here and destroy our home. They will feel nature's wrath.
I think Calder's gonna look amazing in this skin. I hope they do kind of like a druid-esque type of thing with him, like a feral druid type thing. And then Spellbound Chang'e. This looks a lot like, well, I wouldn't say she looks a lot, but just this player card reminds me a lot of Moji in Paladins.
I call upon the power of the moon and stars. Help me defeat my foes and make it through the day.
It's also available through the Spring Holiday Chest, and then of course we have the Mastery Skins. So new cosmetic items right there: King Arthur loading screen and announcer pack, a Wolfsbane announcer pack, and a flower bed death mark, sorry. Project Olympus, so deserter penalty updates. This system is being updated to go easier on players who made one-time mistakes, but to be much more punishing on repeat offenders. Okay, so deserter reset time increased from 1 day to 5 days. Oof. First deserter penalty decreased from 30 minutes to 10 minutes, second deserter from 60 to 30, and then third from 1 hour to 4 hours. Fourth from 4 hours to 1 whole day. Any additional deserter penalties will be, any additional deserter penalties applied will repeat the fourth. So, yeah, don't desert games. Gameplay indicators have been added in Conquest to make it more clear what team kills an objective. Siege towers have now have icons in death recap, top stats, and objective bars. The bottom UI is updated on the console home screen to make it more clear when a player has navigated to that menu. We have some bug fixes here, which we're not going to go over. You can pause that if you want to read over them. We have balances for Conquest. So Totem of Ku. This new objective has added a plot twist to the solo lane in Season 6. There's a lot of discussion about the objectives impacting the overall game mode and is likely to be more balance changes in the future. So there's an issue with the totem. Fix an issue with the totem would gain significantly more health per kill. The Totem of Ku can no longer be targeted or affected by god-only abilities. And then it can no longer be attacked when it is inactive. The movement speed buff gets a decreased buff from 10% to 5%. So we're going to see a little bit less junglers flying around at a slower speed. Assassin's Blessing changed the evolution bonus from 10 pen to 5 pen and 5% movement speed. Well, never mind, because there's where the junglers are going to get their extra 5% movement speed from. This time they're going to get... Ooh, no. It is kind of balancing it out. So you're taking away the speed from the buff, and then you're giving it to the Assassin's Blessing. However, you're also taking away 5 penetration from it. So this is essentially just a balance. Celestial Legion Helm increased the cost from 2050 to 2150, and then decreased the protections gained per stack, used to be 10 to 7. Elixir of Speed, getting a buff here, it looks like, decreased the cost from 2,000 to 1,500. Spear of the Magus, increased the cost by 150, and then decreased the base magical penetration by 10. So getting a little more of a balance there. Void Stone increased the cost by 100, and then decreased the aura penetration from 20 to 15. So those are all of the item balances, and then finally we have god balances. We got Achilles, Bellona, Cullen, Fafnir, Freya, and Ravana Hercules. Oh wow, we got a good bit. Okay, so we'll start from the top. Achilles. Radiant Glory is a conditional heal that requires him to hit multiple targets with this ability. We want to better reward him for successfully accomplishing this. So Radiant Glory gets an increased heal, used to be 23 to 35, is now 24 to 40. Not too bad. Bellona, her Master of War, increased the protections from 4 protections per stack to 5 protections per stack, making her a little bit tankier. Cullen increased the base HP from 475 to 480, and then increased his base attack power from 38 to 39. Also, his Berserk gets an increased health conversion from 15% mana to 20% of mana. Fafnir, his Cursed Strength, increased the base damage, used to be 80 to 260, is now 100 to 260, helping out his early game a little bit. Freya looks like she's getting a lot of changes here. Oh yeah, everything except for her ability, or for her ultimate. No, there's another ability that hasn't. I kind of want to read over this stuff, but we'll just go over the tweaks first. So her Mystic Warrior decreased the self-heal on hit from 2% to 1.5%. Northern Lights also has been adjusted. When activated, she gains 5 shots of Northern Lights. Each basic attack consumes a charge, even if that attack does not hit. So it's no longer I guess you can toggle it, maybe? It's not unlimited anymore. Damage decreased from 40 to 200. Whoa, to 11 to 75. That's a huge nerf. Damage scaling decreased from 40% to 10%. Slow duration reduced from 2 seconds to 1.25 seconds. Charges last indefinitely. Ability goes on cooldown when all are consumed. Okay, so I am going to read over this after we're done here. Aurora Blade reduced the mana cost from 20 to 40, is now 40 to 30. Actually, I want to do that now. Okay, so Freya has been reworked in Season 5 with a few goals in mind. Resulted in her balance being razors. We're doing a single ability rework and a few balance tweaks to help smooth out her damage and make it feel more skillful and avoidable, while also giving old Freya players some of the feeling of a bonus reward for successfully landing multiple shots. Northern Lights will now have 5 shots, spreading out the damage from a single, largely unmissable burst into 5 separate and missable shots. Players familiar with Old Freya will have a similar feeling of combining the 1 and 2 to really burn down targets. Additionally, Mystic Warrior and Aurora Blades have had a small balance adjustments to work. Okay, so maybe the numbers just seem a little more drastic than they really are, but those seem like huge. I mean, 200 to 75. But then again, when you spread it out per hit, I don't know. I guess you just have to really go in and see. Hachiman gets an increased damage on his Heavenly Banner. Used to be 75 to 295, is now 85 to 305. Good old Herc gets a buff on his mitigating wounds. Used to be 10 to 50, is now 20 to 60 for his protections. Odin's Ring of Spears no longer applies an attack speed slow to enemies in its area, just that anti-heal. Sobek gets an increased HP per level, used to be 81, is now 86. I really like that change. Blessing of the Nile increased the protections per stack from 7 to 10. Sylvanas increased projectile speed on his wisps, used to be from 50 to 100. This does not affect the initial release speed, however. Wisp now apply an additional tick right as they hit an ally or enemy, same damage or heal as other ticks. So just longer projectile, or increased projectile speed, more ticks. So that's good. The damage is going to be 10 to 30 plus 10%, and the heal is 15 to 35 plus 10%. I'm not sure if that changed at all, though. Tyr gets an increased base physical protections from 15 to 18, and then his Power Cleave increased the healing. Used to be 25 to 105, is now 30 to 130, giving him a little more survivability. And then finally, Vamana's Colossal Fury now collides with players only. That is going to be it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like and hit subscribe for more content like this. Social media links are in the description, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see the skin videos and the first look on Jormungandr. I think that's how you say it. 3rd time's a charm. That is it, guys, and thank you for watching.